Alsace. It's way over on the eastern side of France, bordering Germany and Switzerland. It's a long ways to go, but you can make the entire trip by train, which is what we wanted to do. It's a lot longer than flying, but it's a lot more comfortable as well. The first leg is the Eurostar. From London, cross the Channel over to Paris. From there, we walk from Gare du Nord to Gare de l'Est to catch the TGV, the high-speed train that rockets across France at 200 miles an hour. Nearing the end of our trip, I couldn't help notice the hop fields. Our plan for this trip was to visit 3 primary cities, Strasbourg, Colmar, and Mulhouse. Of the 3, by the time we made our bookings, the only one with available rooms was Mulhouse. This meant one last train all the way south to the least visited of the 3 towns. You can see the spelling, and I admit we called it Mulhouse the whole time, but we know better now. The quiet streets of Mulhouse are pretty festive even during the day, a little hint of the turbocharged Christmas spirit we had ahead of us. With some time available on our first day, we went to check out the Museum of Fabric Printing, which, I'll tell you, turned out to be a lot more interesting than that name might initially suggest. Exhibits covered not just the process of how the printing is done, which is surprisingly complicated, but the local history. This is a map of Mulhouse in 1797. Every green spot is a printmaker. You can see what a dominant industry it was. This was originally called the Museum of Industry, and it was not very popular and not a lot of people were paying attention to it. If you look at the cutout pages here, these were part of an extensive campaign over the course of several years in which huge amounts of the fabric samples and other items from the museum were continually being stolen. Anyway, that's in the past now, and all the stuff they've got left should stick around. Okay, it's time to change gears, smell some chestnuts roasting on the open fire, and get into the Christmas spirit. Not lost in the Christmas market, however, is Mulhouse's history, represented here by these printed fabric lanterns. Just around the corner from our hotel, the decor of this traditional Alsatian restaurant was irresistible, so we popped in, and we were certainly not disappointed. Jamie started the meal with escargot. As for me, I was a little skeptical.
But that's good.
Is it really?
Yeah. It's just garlic and butter.
The main courses as well were hearty, rich, and felt maybe more German than they did French. The next morning, it was back to the train station to head north up to Colmar. Now, Colmar was what we expected to be the absolute high point of the trip. Famous for its timbered buildings and old world charm, for its phenomenal Christmas markets, and is the birthplace of Frederick Auguste Bartholdi, the sculptor who designed and built the Statue of Liberty. We went to Colmar with very high expectations. Our first impressions were overwhelmingly positive. Look at this undiscovered gem. Okay, maybe not undiscovered. Our first stop was the covered market, full of delightful sights and smells. The cheese shop selling the local cheese was just amazing. The standout cheese was made with nettles.
It does wheels.
Using the maximum extent of our self-control, we only brought a little bit home. Inside the Bartholdi Museum, we enjoyed rooms that were set up, replicating the rooms of the house that he lived in as an adult. Many examples of his phenomenal sculpture, and a room dedicated to his passion for America, initially focused on the relationship between Lafayette and Washington, to his many studies and models that led up to the Statue of Liberty. We got the train back to Mulhouse, and when we got there, the markets were still running. We didn't make it into the big church the night before, and we thought we'd see if it was open, maybe we could pop inside. And as luck would have it, we stumbled onto a small symphony performance. Once again, we start the day heading back to the train station. This time, we're heading off to Strasbourg, the self-described capital of Christmas. I can't wait. We got to Strasbourg around lunchtime, and as Alsace is known for its beer making, this seemed like the perfect opportunity for me to see for myself.
So the day before yesterday, when we came in on the train, we passed endless hop fields. And today, I'm going to see what they do with those hops. We're at Tigerbach in Strasbourg. This is their IPA, and it's quite delicious.
This structure here, built in the 17th century, is a particularly cool place. Let me tell you about it.
Behind me over here is Le Barrage Vauban. It's an ingenious defensive mechanism for the city, which would have been across the river right over here. And the idea was, when invaders were coming from the south, the side where we're on, they would close it up, which would dam off the river, and it would totally flood the south bank, keeping the invaders out of the city.
This sightseeing boat gave us the opportunity to see the swing bridge from 1880 in action. Okay, let's speed this up a little bit. Walking around town, we came across the first of a couple musical surprises that we'd have that day. Musical surprise number 2 coming up. As evening fell, the festivities picked up, clearly calling for some hot mulled wine. And this whole building's an advent calendar. The centerpiece of Strasbourg's largest Christmas market is their enormous 100-foot Christmas tree. France's National Forestry Office begins the annual search for this tree in March. Overlooking the Christmas market, this department store turns Christmas all the way up. Early the next morning, we embarked on the long train ride back home, back to England in the Harry Potter train here at King's Cross Station.